There's a never perfect timing. There's a never perfect Monday. There's never a perfect day you can start.
If I can't do it perfectly, why bother doing it at all?
Oh, Mills, I've been there.
It's normal to feel sad. Like, why do you feel sad? Are you lonely? Are you unhappy in your job? Like, figure that shit out and do something about it.
No matter how old you are, it's never too late to take care of yourself.
What was the craziest thing that you did?
Something I haven't done, but it crossed my mind. It was at the...
Monika, we're getting brutally honest today. Brutally honest about all the demons that women face that keep them stuck, or they don't even realize that they're being kept stuck by these subconscious beliefs. Because you and I know now, after having coached well over 1,000 women, that there's just these repeated beliefs in these women that we're trying to stamp out of them all of the time to get to where they want to be. And we're going to cover some of the most important ones. So if you're listening and you have these thoughts going on in your head, here's our honest take on it. The first one being, I'm going to try losing weight by myself first before I get a coach.
This is very, very common. That sort of mindset that I'm going to do my bit before I start something, before I invest in a gym, invest in a coach. And if we can compare it to, I'm just going to enjoy this holiday, then I'm going to do it. I'm just going to wait for a Monday. Very, very common mindset that people have. But with time, what I've learned with my journey and what we've learned within Team CBM clients, that there's a never perfect timing. There's a never perfect Monday. There's never perfect day you can start. So the more you delay, the more you procrastinate with that decision, the harder it will be in an essence. Because what you need to think of, why am I delaying that decision? Because it's scary, because I don't know how to start. And diving into it, breaking that into small little actionable points, and then just rolling with it. I think that's the best approach to do it.
So true. Because if you start when it's more difficult, it's only actually going to get easier. Like, maybe you're going through a transition phase, maybe life is really busy. But if you begin to drip feed a process then when life comes down, you're going to be flying with progress. And you almost like uncovered another one there when you were saying, if I can't give my everything right now, then what's the point? And that's another one from the perfectionist mindset, which is, if I can't do it perfectly, why bother doing it at all?
Oh, Mills, I've been there. Me and you, we kind of both perfectionists in a way.
Yeah.
So as many other women out there in the world, if I can't do 20,000 steps a day, 3 hours of cardio, 2 hours of training, and then keep my food in, I'm not going to bother. But that is just the recipe for disaster, really, because you end up doing too much, burn out in the process, and then feel like you're broken and you can't do it. Like, you know, when you see people setting these January intentions and they stick to it for 4 weeks just because it's too much. And I've been there in a place myself. And with time, you learn that consistency, smaller organic steps towards your goal will get you so much further.
Anyone who's trying to do fitness and health perfectly is going to fail. Because you can't. You literally can't. A healthy lifestyle is not a final destination or final end product. It's a timeline of decisions, and it's just over time making better decisions than you would have done previously. So if you're hanging all of your success on doing something like tracking every gram of food perfectly every single day for months and months on end, or as you say, never missing your steps, or doing something really unsustainable, you'll never actually achieve it. So you're almost like destined to fail, quite honestly. And another one that I've got here when it comes to the perfectionists as well, they tend to be empaths, right? They tend to be people who want to do right by everyone. It's naturally in their nature. So they've got a fear of letting people down. If I stop being the dependable one because I'm prioritizing myself, people will think that I'm selfish. If I stop putting other people first, will they stop loving and approving of me?
Firstly, why wouldn't you like to be selfish? You have to be, in a way. You have to fill up your cup first before you give to other people, to your partner, to your kids, to your friends. How can you expect to give if you're not receiving it for yourself and taking care of yourself? Because no one at the end of the day will do that for you. And it's very common that we have a young mums that feeling so guilty for doing like anything to for themselves, because they have this little one they need to take care of. But in a way, with time, giving all they got into that, they end up maybe like the energy drops. They're not feeling good, but they can't really pinpoint to what that is. But that's happening because they kind of lost that spark that they had before that time they have a baby. And anything that they do, like even let's say putting an hour to the training 3 times a week, they're so guilty of doing so because they're doing something for themselves. How crazy is this?
It's not actually a healthy mindset either to pass on to your children. I say this with all due respect to the mothers that genuinely really want to put their kids first, because they think the kids should get everything and anything and I should always be there and available to them. But over time, like when you become withered and tired and overweight and unhealthy, and, God forbid you get health complications because you're unhealthy, you then behave as like a martyr. And before you know it, like the kids are like, oh, mum's not healthy or mum's unhappy because she kept putting us first. And then how does that reflect on the child? Like the child thinking that they are the reason that the mother is suffering, because the mum doesn't need to say it indirectly, right?
Yes.
Or directly. The kid will observe the mother always being like, oh, but I do this for you and I do this for you and I do this for you. And then when mum's not happy or healthy, the kid thinks it's to blame because it's been a burden, versus we know the super women that are like, you know what? I put me first, oxygen mask on me first. And then they lead by example, doing their workouts, eating healthily, delegating childcare because mummy needs to be healthy. And mummy does this because it makes mummy feel good. And then the kids have an incredible role model and you're literally a better mum for them. So actually, like, by thinking that you're being selfish because you put yourself first, that's actually inadvertently the most selfish thing that you could do to your kids.
Well, 100%. Because you not end up projecting something onto your kids that maybe you're sometimes not even aware of that you're doing. Like you said, kids are smart. They know. And then they will figure out that mommy isn't happy because of me. And that's how every childhood trauma kind of starts to develop without parents wanting it, without parents actually understanding it. Like you said, happy mom, happy kids, wholesome life.
Have you ever heard a person say, my mum wasn't around because she worked out? Have you ever heard anyone say that?
Well, I've seen a couple of my friends, they just take kids to the gym with them and they have some toys to play with and then mommy's doing a workout. Like, what an amazing example that is.
And what a way to get them feeling comfortable in a gym environment by like literally like, when you see those little videos on social media of like the kids lifting weights and like kids doing press ups.
How cute is that?
This is my point. Like, so it's just not acceptable to say, oh, other people are more important than me, because that is going to bite everyone in the arse further down the line. Without a doubt.
Do you think then keep reminding yourself of that every day as a mum would sort that?
I'm not yet a mother, but if I put myself in the shoes of a mother, I would think, how can I inspire and empower my children to be the very best versions of themselves? And firstly, I have to feel good within me to be inspiring and empowering. Like, again, just simply from like the work that we do, we have to put ourselves first, right? To be the best for our clients. So likewise, same when it comes to motherhood. I'd think about what type of mother did I wish I had to look up to? Because if my mother was empowered and inspiring, it would have been amazing to see her being strong, being healthy, taking care of herself and teaching me to do that too. I didn't get taught that, so I grew up fat, overweight and depressed. So that's my point. Like, as a mother, ask yourself, how do I inspire and empower my children? And like, how does that look on a daily basis? Because I don't think it's selfish.
Yeah. And use it as a fuel.
For sure. One thing when it comes to busy mums, the validation that they get for their worth can come from what they provide to everyone, because they feel needed, they feel wanted. Like, I have to cook the dinner, I have to help Jimmy do his homework, I have to do this, this and this. And it makes them feel worthy. But let's say, snap your fingers, remove the family from the process. Then what are you worth if there's no one else there? That's the crux of the issue, is that they themselves don't feel worthy enough and they only get their value from other people that depend on them.
So then there's no really a validation for them apart from the external surroundings.
So where do they begin with getting that value? It's actually pretty scary when you think about it, because if the only reason that you feel happy is because other people want stuff from you or need stuff from you, whether they're your family or not, do you actually like yourself? It's a tough question.
That was deep. But needed. I think many people need it. And for people that are listening, I would just pause it and ask myself, am I validated? Am I needed for the right reason? Am I enough for myself?
Am I enough for myself? And if you can't honestly say yes, then where would you recommend for them to begin?
I would say diving into yourself, within your childhood memories. That's where everything starts. And that's the most powerful tool I've learned on my therapy sessions I have, is any patterns that I have as an adult, whether they're good ones or not so good, they all started somewhere. And you kind of wanting to dissect that. And it's messy. It's not easy. But the growth is worth it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think through all the coaching that we've done, we've also like figured out like, we have like, okay, here's a client, here's the goal, here's the problem, here's their subconscious demon. We kind of already know, okay, something like this might have happened to them in the past, or something like this might be because they had a dysfunctional relationship with their father, for instance. I think you and I have done heaps of personal development, so we can already kind of see that, but they might not be able to see it for themselves to understand why that's holding them back. So let's take emotional eaters. Perfect example here, because both you and I were emotional eaters for God knows how many years combined.
Welcome to the club.
It never really goes away, but we learn how to manage that. So what happened in our childhood that would have caused us to seek comfort from food? Probably would have meant that there was something unsafe, that we didn't feel like we were in a position where we were comforted, maybe by parents or loved ones, or there's some kind of lack of worthiness there. So here's one from emotional eaters that we hear a lot. If I can't numb my emotions with food, I'll have to sit with the emotions that I've avoided and suppressed for years.
This is the safe way out. And it's been for me as well. Growing up in the Polish family, whenever you had a boo-boo, there you go, there's chocolate. There's a little treat. I remember when I broke my arm, my undoing, my grandma was just spoiling me. There you go, that's some cheesecake. Do you want some more treats? Like, I remember sitting with my broken arm feeling nauseous because I had so much sweet. And later on in life, when I was in my high school, you growing up, teenager, the first crush, etc. And I kind of pinpointed myself being a problem because, let's say, I didn't get a Valentine card on that year, right? What's wrong with me? Then it turns into that sad emotional pit I was in. And then what did I do? I just reached for sweets to make myself feel a bit better. And then with time, that habit, that pattern continued up until I kind of realized what's happening later in life. And when it comes to the emotional eaters, it's a safe space. That's your, in a way, maybe coping mechanism. And sometimes it just happens without even you thinking about it because it's so deeply rooted within you.
Sometimes you find your head in the fridge and you don't know why. Right? You're like, why did that just happen? But for you, it was different to me. You've just described it was soothing from pain and discomfort, but it was a trained behavior. So like, as you say, your grandma giving you food when, you're injured or whatever, that's something that you were almost taught is a solution, and she was probably just trying to comfort you.
Yeah.
So would you say that you were aware that at that time the food, or did you become aware that the food was like literally like a band-aid for I'm in pain, I'm suffering, and I just kind of need to process that and deal with it?
Oh, anytime I went to grandma, I was so happy. Like, I did not want to go home. And I only know this from my mom because when I look back, I remember just the good bits. I remember my grandma sitting next to me and just like having sweets on her lap, and we just chatting and eating sweets together. But what I don't remember, which my mom reminded me of, like, I did not want to go home. I just lied on the floor and I was crying because at home I wasn't allowed that many sweets, right? When I was at grandma's. So at the time I did not realize. It is when I started my fitness journey and wanted to limit the amount of chocolate or cheesecake I'm having. Then it kind of made me realize I'm so used to that, something sweet just after the meal. That is so strong within me that I can't control it. And that's the work I started. And like myself, at that time, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to do it. That's why it took me far longer than needed, like solid 4 to 6 years. And it's still still part of me in a way. So when I have these low moments or I'm just feeling sorry for myself and I feel that brewing within me, but now I'm in control. Now my conscious brain takes over. I'm like, let me just go out for a dog walk. Let me just do a skincare and just distract myself. Funny how this is and will be the part of me. But now you are like in that driver's seat. You are having control of it.
Yeah, that's so true. It's the conscious awareness that there's unexplored emotions, but it's also the lack of fear. Like, you're not scared to explore those emotions anymore. Did you ever at any point feel like, I know that I'm eating to cover something up, or I know that I'm doing these behaviors to try and soothe myself, but I don't want to know what's lying deep down and what's brewing when it comes to how you're truly feeling?
I think that mindset grew with me. At the beginning, I just thought it's just a habit of mine. I didn't really look deep into it. But when I started being a bit more interested in my own personal growth, why I'm reacting sometimes in the situations that I do, why I can't stand up for myself in the other situations in life. And then I think in a way, me training at the gym, wanting to go heavier, working for heavier weights, you kind of have to cross that comfort zone. And when you load your when you load your bar to do a squat and you're like, wow, that's heavy, let's do it. The same sort of mechanism happens then when you're like, oh, I want to explore that part of me, but I'm scared. I'm going to do it anyway because I know only the good things going to come from it.
That is so incredibly powerful, because you've just reminded me of times where I had a call planned in with my life coach, and he was like, no BS. He was calling me out on the behaviors I was doing that weren't serving me. And every single time before the call, I'd feel anxious because I knew that he was going to put my face in my shit and he was going to be like,
stay there until you learn.
Literally. He was going to be like, you're doing this. Your goal is this. Why are you doing this? Because I feel this way. Okay. It's okay to feel that way. But the reason why you feel that way is because you haven't done the work to improve. Let's say, let's talk loosely, for instance. Maybe someone's avoidant or procrastinating if they've got exams. Then they have a call with a life coach, and the life coach is like, why are you just doom scrolling? Why are you not doing your exams? Oh, because actually I don't feel like I'm worthy or capable of passing these exams, so I'm just kind of avoiding it. Why do you feel like you're not worthy or capable? Because I haven't revised or like done enough work to prepare for it. Okay, well, why not? Well, because I kind of thought that I was never good enough to pass them in the first place. And then you kind of like find the root cause, and the answer is just do the work. And then you start doing the work and you pass the exam, and you never procrastinate again because you just know if you do the work, you pass. And it's like, actually, it's not that bad. When you find out why you're doing something, the solution is right there in front of you. And so this is what we're talking about, these demons, when we address them, it's actually like, knock that belief on the head, do the work, and you'll be fine. But obviously with emotional eating, as we said, I have to sit with the emotions that I've avoided for years. It could be trauma, it could be just natural feelings of sadness. Like, humans need to feel happy, they need to feel sad. That's just how we operate. And some people have never been taught it's normal to feel sad. Like, okay, like, why do you feel sad? Are you lonely? Are you unhappy in your job? Is your partner not caring for you emotionally? Like, figure that shit out and do something about it.
We don't always have to be tough.
Yeah, so true. Then with our yo-yo dieters, this one subconsciously holds people back for a very, very long time in their life. Like, we've had women who have been, yo-yo dieting for decades. And I think that this is actually a really profound subconscious belief that they don't even realize that they have. If I finally succeed, what if I can't keep it up? I gain the weight back and I'm humiliated.
So we're already thinking of climbing that top of the mountain, coming down from the mountain, what do I do? So thinking too far in front, which I get it. Like, we all do it. Like, what's behind the next turn? What if I achieve this? What's next? But then you need to ask yourself a question. How do you get to that goal? Is it too quick? Is it working with your routine? Whatever journey that you're on, fat loss, muscle growth, body recomp, it needs to be integrated within your schedule, within your life, because in a way you do end up in a little, let's say, fat loss bubble. But what happens after, if you don't develop the tools to, for example, eat out? You're going to feel lost, you're going to feel guilty, you're going to order a salad in the end, not feel happy, not get good memories from that, let's say, date. And so when it comes to how you get there, it needs to be organic. So you give yourself maybe a bit more time, but you can learn many tools during that journey that you will then go out to the world and you're going to feel like you wanted to feel. Definitely not humiliated, because you're not going to be that person.
Yeah, like you can't fail afterwards if you actually like have the blueprint in front of you. So anyone who thinks, oh, I've tried to lose body fat so many times and I've kind of got so far, then I fall off the wagon. These are the women or the people that we're speaking to, because they are holding themselves back, because I think they can see like halfway up the mountain, but maybe the clouds are like covering the pinnacle, and they're like, shit, like what happens when I get up there? Because how am I gonna actually maintain this and not go backwards? And that's just because you don't know what you don't know. Like, you're not a coach, you're not an expert, you don't know what a reverse diet process is or what a maintenance phase is. So get to know. Like, go and find an expert who's going to teach you how to maintain the fat loss forever. And then you won't end up humiliated. You won't gain all the weight back. You'll be pretty damn freaking happy.
Yeah. And you're going to save yourself so many years.
So many years. And when we say this, like, I don't think people realize like the amount of women that come to us in their late 40s, 50s. We've got women in their 60s that have spent that amount of time unhappy in their body. That's painful.
Imagine.
It's not worth it, just from simply a lack of knowledge, to spend another decade, another 20 years up and down and yo-yo dieting and always talking about weight and, oh, I need to lose some weight. Like,
it's exhausting.
Wait until you get to the position where you don't need to talk about fat loss anymore, and you're just like always hearing people say, you look great. I'm like, thanks, I feel great, I always do.
And that space in your brain that used to be occupied by all these thoughts, it's not there anymore. And that weight is just not on your shoulders anymore. Because you know that if you have few days, let's say, off track, all-inclusive holidays, whatever that is, you come back and you continue to do that, because what you do is part of your lifestyle. It's not just a 6 weeks, 6-pack shred situation.
Yeah. The amount of energy that it took, as you say, to like carry that part of my brain, which was every single day thinking about, what should I eat? How much should I eat? I'm hungry. Did I overeat? What should I like drink when I go here? It honestly, it's like having like a demon inside your mind when you're constantly having those thoughts and you're always battling because you actually don't know the answer. And we literally banish those demons, because the women that work with us, that get their result and then maintain it, they don't ever have that voice in their mind, because, as you literally said, they're in the driver's seat. They know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Yeah. So we're flipping these demons, because they essentially come from person caring about the body, about the journey. That's why these thoughts are forming in their heads. So if you turn these demons into the positive ones, let's say, friends, yeah, you direct it into, like, you shift that mindset into positive. You educate your client around it, and those demons, they're not there anymore. It's so empowering and so just freeing, because I've been there myself. You too.
The amount of times where I've also been in the position, I'm sure you have, where you've had other people say like, oh, you can eat that and stay in shape, or, oh, you're going to eat that, or, oh, you eat a lot. And you can tell that that's their demon speaking, because they don't know what it's like to eat out socially and to not gain body weight. They don't know how much you can eat when you're an active person. They are intimidated by the fact that you're so confident in how you approach your food choices, or the fact that you can leave food on your plate. You don't need to eat everything. You have control around food. And they observe you and make these sometimes even like slightly snarky, indirect comments. And you just think like, Like, I remember when I felt like that.
Yes. Because there is no other place these thoughts are coming from apart from person's insecurity. I remember the situation. It was a few years ago. Me and my partner were sitting in McDonald's. It's just one of these days. Like, I want to get medium crispy burger.
I'm sorry, but everyone who's listening, we all have McDonald's days. Unless you're like Brian Johnson, that guy that's trying to live forever and is like thinks that like fast food is the devil. We all eat good food.
Yes. And we were sitting there enjoying our meal, and one of the people that I know from the gym I used to work in at the time, she just went past it, gave me that look. You eating this? You know, it wasn't my intention to just start a discussion. It's like, yes, because I know how to fit it in my macros. Thank you. Because I really don't mind like educating people, but she wasn't open for receiving.
Mm-hmm.
She was just coming from that place of, oh, I'm in McDonald's, I'm probably going to have to order a salad because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. The judgment, any form of judgment, comes from someone else's insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if it's not something that you would do or doesn't agree with your values, let them.
Who cares?
Literally, who cares? But if she were open to understanding that, yeah, you can every so often have some more processed, tasty food and so be it, and it's not going to cause you to gain body fat, great. But she probably felt that she wasn't able to do that and therefore she judged you negatively for it. But even like, you know, someone might follow a different religion to me. I'm not going to be there like, oh, you go to that type of church? Like, no, because I'm just letting them do their own business, like living their own life, doing what they believe is best for them. So any judgment is always cast from a place of insecurity.
Yes.
What about people who genuinely believe, and this is something I believed, people who genuinely believed, I have tried everything to lose body fat and it doesn't work. I am broken.
Well, me and you, I think, tried every diet on the planet, intermittent fasting, keto, big restrictions.
What was the craziest thing that you did? I want to hear this.
Something I haven't done, but it crossed my mind. It was at the time very trendy. Like, you know, now you have the fat loss injections.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 15 years ago, you could buy tablets that had some sort of parasite in it. That, I forgot the name in English, but you basically giving it to yourself because then you're less hungry, you not eat as much. How crazy is that?
So you basically voluntarily gave yourself barley belly, just like I had recently.
Well, I haven't done it because I was just like, it's not worth it. But my brain thought about it. And when I look back, I look at all the other options apart from what I'm doing now, which is balanced routine with movement that I enjoy, not doing 3 hours of cardio and eating 1,000 calories a day. And actually enjoying what I do, because then I do it seamlessly. I might have blips here and there, but in 50 years' time, I see myself at the gym. I see myself eating good food.
That's crazy. I've never heard of that. That's the first I've heard of that. I thought that you were going to say what I did, which was when I was like 13, 14 years old, I was on the internet purchasing fat burning pills. They got delivered. I took them. Who knows what was in that? Yeah. Who knows what could have happened to me? That's how desperately, as a teenager, I wanted to lose body fat. I ordered and took pills that I have no idea truly what was in them. Like, I was a kid. Like, there was like just the most ridiculous thing. But then also I remember like eating 700 calories per day only from fruit because I was like, I need to be healthy and in a deficit. I was tracking like apples, pears, bananas. Bananas probably not the best choice when it comes to calorie density, but I did the craziest shit because I was in that much pain wanting to lose body fat. And here we are both saying the same thing.
One thing I would give myself pat on the back when I was that age, or for example, you were in 13, right? How ambitious that was. Like 700 calories and you stuck to it.
Oh, I did.
Like, this is such a big drive. If only me and you, when we were younger, we could just direct it into better, balanced way. And I didn't have help at the time. I wish I had, because I have all that drive. Well, I still do. But when I look back, I was like, wow, I've done so much. I underate, I was starving, but I kept doing it until I reached there. So if with right guidance and the same drive, I could be in so much different place.
That's so true. If someone had said, instead of channeling that energy into severe restriction, you need to move in this way, you need to prioritize eating this much protein, you're so right. Like, damn, I'm missing out on like 20 years worth of transformation. But the point goes back to, like, we tried everything, every diet, all the restriction, pills. The only thing that we haven't done, fat loss injections, because that's obviously new. And even then, the amount of women that have come to us saying that they've been on fat loss injections, etc., hasn't worked. It's becoming actually quite common now. There is something to be said that if our method has worked, and we now have also seen it work for 1,000 women, no matter who you are listening on this podcast, you're not a unicorn. Like, you can, just like everyone else, no matter what health condition that you have, lose body fat in a natural way.
Yes. You know, I used to tell to myself, my bones are just thick. That's why I'm destined to have bigger legs. But there's nothing special about me or you or anyone out there. You just need to find the right way.
Yeah. And we are here to teach it. So if anyone's got that excuse, it's gone now. The process has to feel difficult for me to get results. If I'm not suffering, it's not working.
That's a big lesson I've learned. That no pain, no gain sort of approach, right? Like you have to go. Let's say if you're doing fitness classes, you go for heavy hit classes because you sweat, you feel like giving that effort. But is it right for you? For some people it is. But for some people, from my experience, working at the gyms and actually teaching these classes, people don't change because they do 2 30-minute classes a week. And then nutrition is just way off rails. But that mindset of I worked hard for it, then it's going to bring me some fruits. No, it won't. You don't have to work hard. You have to just work smart in a way that serves your body.
It's quite interesting when you put it into that perspective, because what I was thinking was slightly different. What you're saying is someone will go in and do something that feels very intensive, like a workout that's going to really push them and challenge them, but they're forgetting like the one whole side of it, which is their nutrition. So they're suffering in a way, but they're probably not accounting for what suffering needs to be done, if any. And the thing that's probably like the most challenging is not going and doing a difficult workout, but actually changing your eating patterns. For me, I remember really beating myself up if a day didn't go to plan, and like, let's say I came to the end of the day and I'd only done 5,000 steps, or I needed to get my workout in and I had another 2 workouts to do, but it was a Sunday. So I'd be in the gym for like 4 hours doing a double session, or I'd go out at 10:30 to do an hour's walk to go and get all of these steps, because I felt like if I missed anything, that I was not going to get the result that I wanted. But also that suffering, then overtraining my body, not sleeping enough, actually stressed me out to the point where my inflammatory bowel disease flared up and I got sick. And so if you're someone who's got like sensitive health conditions, or even just someone who wants to feel their best, actually putting yourself through tons of suffering is quite harmful to your health. Like, it's actually not the right thing to do.
Well, for some reason, I think most of us perceive that if we really like work hard, it's going to be better. Like sometimes I don't sweat when I train. I do resistance upper body. I sometimes don't sweat. What do you mean you don't sweat? You have to sweat because it's hard. Like it's hard work. But doing it in a smart way serves you, doesn't really put much stress on your digestive system, on your nervous system. Funny how these things work. But yeah, all or nothing approach most likely won't get you far.
It's about smarter, not harder. And sometimes being smart is pretty damn easy. Like, you don't suffer sometimes when you're smart. Like, if you think like today, for example, we have a very crammed day. And I prioritize getting a little bit more sleep this morning than going to the gym and crushing a training session. And I made that conscious decision to go and train tomorrow because it would allow my body more rest, but the same amount of work would be done in a week. Yeah. And so I haven't suffered today, and I won't suffer tomorrow because I've got the time to train tomorrow. So, but if someone who falsely believes that it has to be done this way, perfectionists, they're the ones that are going to suffer and beat their body up and not enjoy the process and then quit.
Yeah, because sometimes smart is taking a rest day, being kind to yourself.
And that's something that we had to learn the hard way. To our perimenopausal ladies, which we work with a lot. We have many women who are in their 40s and their 50s. Hormones have changed, whether they're on HRT or not, or trying to manage naturally. They have many beliefs that keep them stuck. And quite admittedly, yes, going through that type of change is going to put a strain on your body. It's going to put a strain on your mental health. But you're not a unicorn, just like anyone listening, and you can have a process that works for you. So if my body keeps changing consistently, what's the point in trying? And if I'm only just starting now, isn't it too late anyway?
It never is too late. No matter how old you are, it's never too late to take care of yourself. And when it comes to that phase in your life that you always experience for the first time, it's not like you going twice in your life through the menopause or perimenopause, like that stage in your life. And you learn to adapt. Like, you know, when you grow up and your boobs start to grow and your body's changing, like you're adapting. So the same sort of scenario happens a bit later in your life. But it's hard because what hormones can do and how can they affect your mood, your energy, you just might feel like a completely different person within yourself and you're feeling like nothing's going to work for me. But again, take an individual approach, working on that hard stuff and managing your nutrition, having a good training program. It all just helps with correcting how your body behaves at that stage. And we're not special, unfortunately.
It's just like there's different circumstances, right? It's just like there's different circumstances, but the law of thermodynamics just still applies. Like, if you consume less energy than how much you burn, you will still lose body fat. And if you lose body fat, if you're overweight, especially in your 40s, it will be easier to do it in perimenopause than when you go through menopause. If you try and lose body fat when you've already gone through menopause, it might be more challenging. Not to mention that actually our hormonal profile as females changes with every single decade. So a woman in their 20s, her metabolism is very different to her in her 30s. And then a woman in her 30s maybe who's just had a child, postnatal fat loss, that's very different. But actually, like, the hormonal profile is not necessarily what matters that much in depth. It's more so actually managing emotions, energy levels, and symptoms. Like if you're a pregnant lady and you've got nausea, or if you're going through menopause and you've got night sweats, it's how do we manage those symptoms so you can still do the work to get to where you want to be and maintain a healthy lifestyle. It's not actually like your body has stopped working.
Yeah, because your hormones are keep flowing through you since you were a young little girl. And hormones, they don't magically make you bigger. Is what do you do around the fluctuations, like you said, the management of hormones. And it's hard when you're in that perimenopausal stage because you think, and you're driven by these hormones, and sometimes it's hard to stop eating more because you're just so driven by the hormones. And as females, we know how hard it is. But then these tools that we've learned maybe a bit early in life, when we dived into our inner growth and we took control over it, that only pay benefits and dividends in the future when you are going through that stage.
Yeah, and just to say, some of the ladies that have worked with us at Team CBM or are still currently working with us, that are in their 50s, in their 60s, they are some of our most jaw-dropping transformations. Like, we have women that come to us wanting to lose a little bit of body fat, feeling a bit tired and fatigued because of the hormonal changes. And then at 60, they're looking the best they've ever looked, like toned, muscular legs, like running consistently, new hobby. And they thought they were broken. Like, it's simply what you put into the process is what you get out. And your health conditions, your hormones, your life circumstances, if there is a will, there is a way. And if you have experts like us that have been able to help all of these types of women, then you're going to have a solution.
100%. Challenging your old beliefs and being open to be challenged. That's why we see so much success within our team.
Well, yeah, if anyone's listening to this podcast, right, and they're thinking like, okay, yeah, those are all my demons, but I'm not going to listen to Millie and Monika and think that I can change it, then stay stuck. Like, turn off the podcast right now, you know? The reason why we're talking about this stuff is because it's bullshit. Like, this is stuff that the brain tells you that's not true.
Yeah.
This one is an interesting one, right? Because you and I work with people that want to change. Because we can take a horse to water, but we can't force it to drink. Sometimes that horse says, I'm thirsty. And we take the horse to water. And then the horse looks at the water and it says, I don't want to drink. Which is very, very interesting. And I think there's a lot of deeper layers there as to why someone can want to change, but then pull back. And those are the real deep-rooted demons. So avoidance patterns is what we'll talk about here, where someone might be in the mind frame of, okay, if I commit to coaching, or if I commit to this fat loss and fitness journey fully, if I even put my hard-earned money down to invest in a coach, if I do this and I commit, I will have no excuses left to be lazy, to be avoidant, because I've put both feet in. I've got no excuses.
Yeah. You just let yourself to be led, and therefore that decision-making factor is just out of the equation, and you just follow it. And that's what like you said, just removes that excuses, procrastination buffer that some people have.
But some people use it as a protection mechanism.
Of course, because it's safe.
So to anyone who's using it as a protection mechanism, what would your advice be to them?
I would say, why is it safe? And what positive does that bring it to your life? Is it safe but you feel miserable? Or is it safe and you're actually quite happy about it? Because if you're happy about it, then fair play to you. You don't have to change. But if you're miserable, you're not taking the life fully in, or maybe you're not present in the moment because something is holding you back, then let's do something about it. It's hard, but it's doable.
I got asked this question on a discovery call this week that I'd love to hear your take on, which is, you were overweight for a huge amount of your life. You struggled with emotional eating for many years. You lost 20 kilos. You've kept it off for good. You are now a very, very fit and healthy, confident person. What actually drove you forward to do the work to change? Why did you not just stay in a position where you didn't commit and you always had one foot out? Why did you jump in?
I think at the time, because my mindset towards it has changed over the years, but at the beginning, I saw it as my solution to my problem at the time, which was, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not fit enough to date that boy. And I thought, when I'm lighter, I'll get more attention. So that was that kind of attention-seeking factor / not being good enough. But when I got to that position, nothing changed. I was skinny, I was having my thigh up like I wanted, but I didn't get what I was desiring to get. And I was miserable because I was looking like a skeleton and I was having no life energy within me. And then I realized people won't remember you for how you look. They'll remember you for how you feel. And then after that, I discovered Zumba. I started moving my body in a way I actually enjoy it. Then that opened that spark, and that inner glow kind of started to pour out. And with time, I seek that balance, which then brings me to how I feel. And then we're just going full circle here.
That hits so close to home. Like, that's I feel like sitting in front of you, there's a mirror looking back at me, because I mean, no wonder we do what we do every single day at Team CBM, because we both come from exactly the same experiences, the same journey. It's the same thing with me. Like, I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, no one will ever love you because you don't love yourself. That's why. So to someone who can't like commit fully, maybe you're just not in enough pain to change. Maybe you've got people saying like, oh, you're amazing how you are, or oh, life's not that hard. But one day it will get hard enough. And I really hope for their sake that it doesn't get hard by you being diagnosed with an illness related to being unfit, fat, overweight, because then you're going to have to change. But if you truly deep down, like when you look at yourself, you don't respect who you see, change. Do the goddamn work and get rid of the excuses, because they're not protecting you from anything other than just assuming that you're happy how you are. And just like you found the love for Zumba and then enjoyed moving your body in that way. And now like fitness and health, it's our passion, it's our work, it's what we do. Same thing with me. I found powerlifting, found getting strong. And then I was like, shit, I want to make this my whole life. And you don't know what doors that will open, who you will meet, what it will change for you. It's the worst possible thing that you could do is to say, I can't commit. Because what you're saying to it is, I can't commit to a life that's worth living.
That initial nudge that we feel like something's not okay, I would strongly advise to follow that. When it's scary to jump, that's exactly when you jump. Don't wait for that reality check, someone telling you that you're pre-diabetic, someone telling you your cholesterol is out of the roof. That's that reality check that you don't want to see, because that's most likely too late. Of course, you can improve it and correct it, but why would you not take care of yourself earlier? Would you could? And all it took is just balanced approach.
Yeah. And if they don't know how to do the balanced approach, we are here. Just find us in the description box, drop us a message, hit the application form. Like, we've been there, we've done it, and we've repeated the process over 1,000 times with all the women. And it would be our pleasure, because it literally is our pleasure and our passion, to help any women with any problem get to the point where we are now, which is a pretty damn good position to be in.
100%.
Monika, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Millie.
If you found that episode helpful, then you definitely need to go and listen to episode number 7, the biggest fat loss mistakes you're making and how to fix them. It's going to be an absolute game changer for you.